Hey guys, I am Meredith Hawley. I'm a lawyer and a life coach, and I help women shift power dynamics so that they can stop and prevent toxic work environments. I wanted to talk a little bit today and do a conversation about hard things around what we've been seeing in the news about the children coming to the border and being gassed and what do you do when you see someone else experiencing abuse? So I wanted to give you my thoughts and hear your thoughts about it. Feel free in the comments to post any thoughts that you have. Feel free to disagree with me, but I just want to offer what I found to be useful. So after college, I joined the Peace Corps and I taught school in Ukraine. And I decided to do that because I wanted to go help people who needed my help, and I wanted to make a difference in the world and do something that I thought would be really productive. And what I found when I went to Ukraine was that they didn't need my help, and I was a 22-year-old kid who didn't know how to speak Russian and buy food, and so they had to help me. And what I found with them was that my guilt over my privilege was actually not useful to them. I found that guilt was not an emotion that created something positive or that helped them transform their lives. Guilt was a selfish emotion for me that I could indulge in to not take action. I felt like I realized that when I felt bad, it felt like I was doing something when really I wasn't. And it sort of gave me a space to just wallow in guilt instead of to really be productive and contribute to people's lives. So when we see these news reports, I think it's really easy to feel guilt and to indulge in guilt. And I think indulging in guilt is different than recognizing that something is happening that's wrong and taking action to change it and taking action to create the world that we want to create. I think that guilt can be really different than responsibility. I think, like any negative emotion, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. In a moment, to just feel guilty in a moment and change our behavior and learn something from it. But I think we can start to indulge in it and get stuck in it in a way that's actually not productive and not helpful. And so the first lesson that I want to share, just from my own life, is that guilt is not an emotion that motivates us to make change. And I think that when we see these things happening in the news, it's worth making change. It's worth doing something to contribute to creating the world that we want to see. I think that the most productive way to do that is to come from a place of powerful love, not weak love, not love that says do whatever you want, but love that is willing to say, I love you, and no, that is not how we behave. I think when Byron Katie talks about coming from the place of I love you and no. I love you, and that is not behavior that I tolerate. I love you, and that is not how we act. This is not how we treat children. This is not how we treat coworkers. That is not behavior that I tolerate. But I think coming from a powerful place of love allows us to convey that message really strongly. So, for example, the way that I look at it is, if I was a school teacher in this situation, what's the message that I would send to my children? If I was the one with authority, what's the message that I would want to send about how we act in these situations? What's the message I would want to send about children on the border? So even if I can't physically in my day go to the border and stop something, how do I want to show up so that I'm conveying that message? How do I want to show up at work? How do I want to show up for myself in the courtroom, in my community, so that I'm conveying the message of here's how we treat our children, here's how we treat our coworkers, I love you, and we don't behave that way. I think a lot of people feel anxious and guilty and stressed about if you see somebody being treated badly at work, how do you intervene with that? And I think feeling guilty about it is about us. Feeling love and power about it can create real change in the environment and give us the space to say, that is not how we show up. That is not how we behave. It requires us to be a leader in our environment, in our communities. And that can be a really tough thing, but it's a worthy challenge. If we care about these issues, if we really want to see better communities, better workplaces, better countries, taking that leadership role where we can say, I love you, and that is not how we behave, I think is the way to do it. So I hope you guys are doing okay this week. I know it's kind of tough things in the news always, but I just wanted to jump on and say, hey, and feel free to let me know if you have any questions. So what I would love for you to do as your homework is find an area in your life where you feel like you're compromising how you expect to be treated, and just see if you can make a shift in your mind to, I love you and I don't tolerate that behavior. I love you and I always take care of myself. Let me know if you have any questions, or send me a private message about if you want to talk about anything that goes on with you. Have a great week, you guys.